Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Today we're going to be looking at the Gomorrah Hotel and Casino. This idea was recommended to me by Bob Mew, who wanted me to cover the Gomorrah. Now the Gomorrah might be one of the most despicable places on all of New Vegas. There's some very dark stuff going on inside, and it sits right at the center of Fallout New Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip. Now if you don't know, the name Gomorrah comes from the Bible, in which God sentenced two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, to destruction for their wickedness. So Gomorrah, because of its namesake, is a place of wickedness and sinfulness in Fallout New Vegas. So of course, as we enter Gomorrah, we're going to be asked to hand over all of our weapons. However, we can keep holdout weapons if we so choose. Now behind the reception desk, we have this key holder similar to the Lucky 38, indicating that in the Fallout universe, they probably still use actual keys instead of using card keys like we use in our universe. Then we had a newspaper talking about a facelift the Gomorrah got, and we have a fire pit. Inside the main casino area, we have a rotating image of a woman and a fire beneath it, kind of representing hell, and this hotel carries an Arab theme with it. Now, the Gomorrah was likely inspired by the Dunes Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. However, this hotel was demolished in 1993, but like the Gomorrah, it carried an Arab theme with it. And funny enough, today, the former site of the Dunes Hotel is replaced with the Bellagio, which was the influence for another casino in New Vegas, the Ultralux. After leaving the main part of the casino, we come to Brimstone, and this is the location of a stage with pole dancers and girls in cages. And a theme throughout the Gomorrah is prostitution and sex work, and you'll see a lot of exotic dancers and people, both girls and males, inside of cages and dancing upon stages. And as I mentioned before, the Gomorrah has a theme of prostitution, but there's several other sinful activities taking place here as well. For example, the bartender does not only sell alcohol, but also sells hard drugs and all kinds of chems that are very affordable, and she calls them party favors. Just like the Lucky 38, there are newspapers scattered around the Gomorrah advertising the hotel and talking about its prestige in the pre-war era. Then if we go up this staircase, and this is only accessible upon completing the main quest, you can find the VIP area, which has several pool tables, and in here you can see I sided with Casino during the main quest. Then in the office next door, we can find a copy of Guns and Bullets, which will increase the player's gun skill by 3 points, so that's really good. Then we can find a hard lock safe, which will allow us to access some blackmail material, which can be used during the main quest if the player so chooses. Then after that, I went over here, and even though this bar says out of order, this bartender will still sell you alcohol and party favors, so kind of interesting. And from the VIP section, you have a very good view of the stage. Then across the whole Gomorrah, you will find Omerta thugs who are part of the family here running the casino, and they watch out for any bad activities. Now, this girl in a cage can actually be spoken to, which I thought was kind of funny, if the player gets close enough. Then here we have the door, which leads to the part of the casino where we have all of the caps and money storage. Of course, it's locked behind a very hard lock. Then, heading over to the Courtyard, we're actually entering an area that I feel like a lot of players might miss on an initial playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. Here we can find several prostitutes that the player character can actually interact with, those two being Joanna and Dazzle. Now, there was supposed to be a super mutant prostitute, but that was cut from the final game, probably for the better. But anyways, there's a lot of NPCs in this area, especially gamblers, both male and female. And interestingly enough, the player character can sleep in any of these beds without having to pay any kind of money. So it's a good place to rest up, I guess. Over here we can see somebody dancing and then some gamblers enjoying the show. Then if we move up to the second story, there's several cabanas where the player character can find beds and can actually sleep. and all of these overlook the courtyard, and it has kind of a nice appearance, I suppose. And if you've ever been to the real Las Vegas, this kind of setup where there's cabanas overlooking the pool or something is fairly common. But besides that, there's really not a lot of interest on this floor. Then on the opposite side of the second floor, you can find Joanna's room. However, I was unable to locate Joanna, so I don't know if it had to do with my actions during the main quest or what, but this room is relatively empty. Now, heading over to the lower floor, we can find the remainder of the Brimstone Club. Also, there's these advertisements across the Gomorrah for shows, just like in the Lucky 38. In Lower Brimstone, we're greeted with some exotic dancers as we get off the elevator. And as we go about this lower level, I find it to be a bit confusing. It's kind of a maze of sorts, but eventually you can find the main club, where we have a very large stage and a very large bar, along with some more miniature stages and exotic dancers. This place is populated with several travelers and gamblers. Now, in the Gomorrah, it actually allows ghouls. However, the other two casinos on the strip, the Ultralux and the Tops, do not permit ghouls, so we have some discrimination going on. But because of that, the Gomorrah actually employs ghoul prostitutes for ghoul customers. So, kind of interesting. Then we're led into another big room with some benches and beds and a lot of Omerta thugs. And this lower level is important for the main quest, but besides that, there's just a club down here. Moving on to the top story is where we can find some extremely disturbing stuff. So maybe I would advise viewer discretion if you do not like murder or any kind of torture. Up here, you're greeted with a blood stain as you get off the elevator, along with several Omerta thugs watching your every action. If we come to this hallway, we can find a locked door, and I have stolen the key. However, you might have to pick this lock to access this room. Upon entering, you're going to find several stains of blood, knives, medical equipment, and what's supposed to be a dead prostitute. However, there's a glitch in the game where she comes back to life for whatever reason. However, the player character is unable to interact with her because it just keeps bringing up the medical screen to inspect the body. Upon investigating the body, you can find that the person was likely tortured before they died. So a very dark scene going on here, but kind of alleviated by the glitch. And as you can see here, this girl continued to move about as if everything was fine, but I was unable to interact with her. In the opposite room, you can just find a maintenance closet, and there's nothing special in here, but we do have a garden gnome, which I think is awesome. But besides that, if you do more investigation, you can actually find out who is behind the murders, and this story is really dark. Upon entering one of the hotel rooms, all of these rooms, by the way, are VIP rooms and reserved for the family, which owns the Gomorrah. Upon investigating this room, you're going to find tons of blood stains as well, just like the previous room. And this hotel room belongs to Clandon. And upon further investigation, we can learn that Clandon is actually making snuff films. Snuff films are a type of movie or video which shows people being murdered for some kind of pleasure or enjoyment. It's actually a real thing in real life. It's very disturbing. And Clandon here is making these videos within the Fallout universe. So me, Rex, and Raoul decided to kind of teach him a lesson in order to stop Clandon's heinous crimes from continuing. As long as you do this in secret, there will be no repercussions from the Omerta family for killing him. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, the Gomorrah has a reputation for being a place of sin, and it really lives up to that reputation. From prostitution, to drugs, to murder, to blackmail. It has everything you could think of. This is truly a very dark place, and even the man who's probably the best for the strip, Cachino, is guilty of abusing prostitutes. So this is a very kind of dark place within New Vegas, and a lot of it is easily overlooked by the player character just trying to complete the main quest. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any recommendations for the next video, please post them in the comment section below. Until next time.